Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It is Manish Jain or Mr. Jain, and you're watching Electric Avenue. This is episode number 13. Happy New Year. It is an amazing start to 2024, and we've got a wrap up for December 2023 in this episode. So, as usual, we're going to talk about four things. We're going to talk about the monthly registration figures for India in the EV segment. Number two, we're going to talk about any recent EV news and launches. Then for car spotting, we got something unique. We've got a 1954 Fiat, and how that's an EV, you'll see. And last but not least, for our deep dive, we're going to talk about the newly released red herring perspective for Ola Electric, which means they're going to be filing for an IPO very soon. So we'll kind of dig into that document and talk about some of the features of the company and what they're trying to do with the money that they're going to plan on raising. So as usual, let's just dive right into the numbers. All right, so here we are looking at EV car sales from April 2023 to December 2023. And I know I say this every damn time, but at the king of the hill is Tata Motors with around 4,820 units sold. Then you go down to MG Motor, then you've got M&M at 662. BYD at 168, BMW with 161, which is kind of a steep drop from 281. And then you've got Hyundai at 123. Now, as I always say, there's always a difference between actual bookings and car sales. And a lot of the data I get comes from evreporter.com. Down here, you can kind of see it. EV Reporter, then you got Vahan, then you've got FADA, then you got the OEMs and Twitter to some extent. So as you can see, the data is coming from all sorts of places. So sometimes, it kind of changes, but I think, like I said, it gives you an overall picture of where the market is kind of going. I mean, if you're looking for precise data down to a single digit, that's probably not possible because there's always a change between the registration numbers, the sales data, all of that. So anyways, back to it. You've got Mercedes at 80 units, Volvo 54, which is, they're doing pretty good. Citroen with their their Citroen EC3. I always get Renault and Citroen mixed up. Bottom line is I hate both cars. So it's anyways, what are you going to do? Kia at 30, and that's, of course, all of their EV6s. So as usual, no real changes, no real surprises in the end of December. Tata Motors is continuing to kill it with their sales, and I expect that to just continue, and I don't see any other thing happening in the future. But let's hope there's more competition in 2024. So that's a wrap up on new car sales for December 2023. So next up on the list is recent EV news and launches. So, I know I've always said I'm going to talk about only India specific news or EV launches that would affect India at some point. But I just had to talk about the Tesla Cybertruck because the amount of buzz that Tesla creates is just next level. It's almost like whenever iPhone, gets launched, a new, Apple iPhone gets launched, it's just crazy, the run up to it. And then the first 5 or 6 days after it launches, there's just reviews left, right, and center. So same thing with the Tesla Cybertruck. It was announced, like 4 years ago, and it finally got released in December 2023. And of course, the design is what everyone expected because it was pretty much on spec. I think what they said was this was maybe 5% smaller than the original design for some reason, but still looks very polarizing. And when it first came out, I absolutely hated the design, but the more and more that I see it, I just started to love it. Now, will we see this in India? Absolutely not. I can imagine this will be, owners that are importing it on their own. So I'm guessing that'll happen because the wow factor of you driving a Cybertruck anywhere in India or even on the roads of Bombay will just be next level. So I'm assuming it's going to happen. But as far as distribution from Tesla itself, first of all, they don't have anything happening. But even if they were to, let's say, come in by some fate of God, I don't think Tesla would be on their roadmap for distribution of that product in the country. And the one really cool thing that I loved during their launch was they had a Cybertruck, as you can see here. And this Cybertruck is actually pulling a Porsche 992 and I think that color is called Mamba Green. So that Cybertruck is pulling a Porsche 992, and even with that car that is towing, it still beats a regular 992 that is right here. And that just shows you the power of the EV. But this marketing stunt was amazing because all the car guys were just going crazy when they saw this image. And I keep on mentioning 992. That is internally the code number for the latest Porsche 911, and the previous generation to that was the 991, then the 997, and then the 996. Typical German engineering. I don't know why they went from 997 to 991, but whatever. Anyways, that was some amazing stuff from Tesla when they launched that. So very cool. But like I said, I don't see that coming to India anytime soon. So first piece of India specific news is Hyundai Motor launches or delivers its 1100th Ioniq 5. I don't know why they went with 1100, must mean some significance. But they delivered their 1100th Ioniq 5 to Shah Rukh Khan, which is their brand ambassador, which I didn't realize he's been their brand ambassador for I think the last 20, 25 years. So he's been around a long time, pretty loyal to the group, and obviously so. And as usual, any car that Shah Rukh Khan buys or owns is probably never driven by him. So his driver is going to love this Ioniq 5 with the panel sunroof, the silence of the EV motor and all that stuff. So, but again, shows you great progress from the Hyundai Motor Group in pushing the EV narrative in India. Next up, BPCL and Tata Motors subsidiary is signed an MOU to set up 7,000 EV charging points. Now, I'm not sure if this is actual charging locations, sorry, not charging locations, but if these are actually charging guns, 7,000, or if they're actually charging locations. So obviously difference because each charging location could have anywhere from 1 to 10 or 20. So that I didn't really dig into it, but remains to be seen what that is. But it just shows you that Tata Motors is trying to think ahead and make sure that they've got their charging infrastructure in place all over the country. Next is we have got Blue Smart. So funny story about Blue Smart. They are a cab aggregator that only uses EVs, and they're kind of going down the path of Ola Electric in that they want to create their own EV. But of course, they're probably doing it very differently than Ola is doing it because Ola is taking a lot of money from the public markets, whereas Blue Smart's trying to do this with venture capital money and being very cognizant of that. So Blue Smart has a division called Gensol, and I believe their manufacturing facility is in Pune. And this is either a three-wheeler or a four-wheeler. I know the company that they acquired and kind of rebranded in Gensol was working on a three-wheel version of a product that's EV, run by a guy named Pratik Gupta. And I think this is going to be a three-wheeler, but from the looks of it, this is showing you that it's a four-wheeler, but remains to be seen. We'll find out in March 2024, which is just a couple months away, what this is. But very excited for Blue Smart. They got a lot of traction. Their service I've heard is amazing in Delhi. I've yet to experience it, but very excited to kind of see that for those guys. Next up is we have got Tata Motors is launching a dedicated EV showroom in the Delhi NCR region. So this is kind of along the lines of Lucid Air, Tesla, or even the Apple store, very, very nice looking showroom. So it's all glass, it's got a lot of wood, almost kind of feels like you're in a Zen kind of state of mind when you're buying a car. So that is something that they announced in December, and the EV showroom is opening up in January. So I think it's already opened up about a week ago, since we are here in the middle of January as I'm releasing this episode of Electric Avenue. But that is a wrap on the news that we have for December 2023. Next on the docket is number 3, which is car spotting. And this one's a very unique one because this is a 1954 Fiat that has been retrofitted with an electric motor and obviously a battery pack. So if you take a look at it, this is from the Quench brand, which is part of, as you can see here, the Ador group here in Pune. And I had a chance to visit the campus last week and decided to kind of take some pictures and talk about it on this episode of Electric Avenue. So, as I mentioned, it's a 1954 Fiat Millecento 10 kilowatt hour battery pack, which has got about a 70-kilometer range. I was going to drive this car, but it was not working when I was there. So, of course, I'm going to be going back to that campus, whether they like it or not, and I'm going to drive the damn thing. So, very cool. And as I mentioned, this is part of the Ador Digitron group. And the brand that they are pushing for EV charging is Quench and is doing very well. And of course, you know me and number plates. But the funny thing about this car, the first thing I noticed wasn't that it was an electric, whether it was a retro, was its plate number. It is 992. And as I had mentioned when I talked about the Cybertruck, this is the latest version of the 911 is the 992. So when I saw that plate number, I'm like, wow, that's kind of crazy. And of course, people at AdWord tell me, oh, it's so random that they picked 992. But I'm pretty sure somebody within that company really loves 911s and picked that number plate. And here it is, the engine bay. So as you can see, there's an Amaron lead-based battery. And then you got all the power unit, the electronics are sitting here. And then of course you got the motor right here and the battery pack is in the back. So yeah, that's kind of it. And this is another shot of it from here from the side. So as I mentioned, Quench, Juice for Electric Automobiles, that's their brand. And you know, this is when they invited me, or maybe that is a sign to say stay the hell away from Manish. Maybe this is a campus alert to watch out for me. So that's the car spotting for December 2023. All right, we are at number 4, which is the deep dive section. And you know, to be fair, I had pre-recorded this just to kind of run through it, and I was clocking in at over 25 minutes just for this section. And that for me is a no-no. I like to keep these episodes under 20 minutes in total. So I may skip through some of these things that you see on the screen because I feel maybe some of it's kind of repetitive. But anyways, this is the red herring perspective, as they call it, red herring, draft red herring, which basically means that the company is filing for an IPO, initial public offering, and they've packed in a bunch of information in this document. It weighs in at over 444 pages, so it is really in depth at 444. So yeah, pretty crazy. So let's kind of get into it. Let's talk about some of the things that I saw that were noteworthy. So they are trying to raise around 5,000. So let me just make a quick change here. And so totally they are trying to raise about 5,500 crore in this initial public offering. And they're going to try to utilize it for 3 main areas. One is around cell manufacturing plant, around 1,200 for that, around 1,600 crore for research and development, and then another 800 crore to repay some debt. So that's kind of what they're going to use the money for, and that's typically what the document's about, is to say all the great things that are happening in the company, and then if you were to give them money, this is what they're going to do with the money. And so this is kind of what the document is talking about. So one of the guys on on Twitter, kind of quickly summed up this, valuation of what they're trying to do. So, Ola Electric, they're targeting a valuation of around $7 to $8 billion, which is around 66,000 crore. And the last time that Ola Electric was valued was around 5.4 billion in their last fundraise. So as you can see, they're going from 5.4 to anywhere from 7 to 8 billion, and even further, because if the markets are really frothy and things are looking good, they may make much more. So then, this person kind of wanted to compare that to the largest two-wheel manufacturer right now, which is Hero, and they are valued at close to $10 billion, and they've been around, of course, for a long time, and they sell about 53 lakh bikes a year, whereas Ola Electric only sold 1.5 lakh bikes last year in FY23. So he's kind of saying that, Hero has sold 34x times bikes and just barely marginally more valuable than Ola. But that's kind of a difference between what they call old world and new world. So, petrol, diesel bikes are the old way and electric are the new way. So, that's kind of, comparing apples and oranges, but he's just trying to compare, raw numbers as far as sales are concerned. And then if you try to compare Ola in relation to everyone else, you can see they're actually doing very well. So when you compare it to Aether, which did around 1 lakh sales, and then Ola Electric did 2.6, so they're obviously miles ahead. TVS has done quite a bit. That's where Hero has done very little on, the electric side. As you can see here, they've only done about 11,000 units, but I'm sure that's going to ramp up as well. So that's kind of where we are. Now, one of the things is you're going to hear me say again and again and again is this piece right here. So throughout the document, they really talk about their overall business model. And, when you hear them go on TV very soon, they're always going to throw out the word full stack. And what that means is they own everything from, research and development and the technology platform, all the way to the manufacturing, the supply chain. Then they also own the distribution outlets. So they own the retail outlets, whether it's directly as Ola or maybe through a multi-brand strategy. So they're trying to say that they own the entire supply chain. Outside of maybe mining for the minerals, they own everything else. And this is a common theme that comes up through the document. And that's the reason why this thing went to 25 minutes, because I kept on saying the same thing over and over and over again. So this time, if I see the same image, I'm just going to kind of go through it. But basically, they keep on talking about three key things, which is they own their own R&D and technology platform. They own their own manufacturing and really own the supply chain platform. And two, they really own their own direct to consumer distribution platform. This is something that every damn journalist talked about when they launched the IPO document. There's 444 pages. Of that, there's probably a good 30 to 40 pages of amazing content, but this is the one damn thing that every single one of them kind of focused on, and that is how much does everyone own in the company and how much is going to be worth? Yes, Bhavesh owns a big chunk of it at 37%. Then you've got everyone else. You've got the other investors like SoftBank, Tiger Global, Matrix. You've got AlphaWave. Then you've got the original Ola, which is the booking cab aggregator app, ANI Technologies. That's at 5%. And the most surprising to me was Hyundai. I didn't realize, but Hyundai Motor Group owns 3% of Ola, which was of Ola Electric, which is very surprising to me. Then, of course, you've got a big ESOP pool at around 7.5%, and you've got some other shareholders that rounds it out to give you a total of 100% ownership. And of course, all of them are gonna get diluted a little bit because of this IPO offering. So as I had mentioned before, the same thing comes up and again what they do. Again, they're full stack. So this is the R&D part where they talk about they own the R&D, they own the manufacturing, they own their sales and distribution network. This one talks a couple more things that they are owning is their charging network and then their after sales network. So they are completely what they call vertically integrated versus they're trying to say the other guys, So these are other people, maybe like Aether, Hero, all these other guys are trying to throw some shade on them and just trying to say how they're much better. Bottom line is they are doing stuff very differently, and I think it's amazing, and it's kudos to the team at Ola Electric for thinking so big. So here they talk about, they're going to develop, their own cell technology, and I think that's the key to everything. When you're manufacturing, when you're doing EVs, is you need to own that cell chemistry. How much is lithium based? How much is sodium based? How much is this? How much is that? That chemistry is the intellectual property. And if you own that, then everything else kind of just rolls with it. And that's what they're trying to really understand and do. Again, three key pillars to our business model. And my God, I sound like a broken record when I say this again. They own the R&D, and now here they're trying to break it out. And what does R&D technology really mean? It talks about the software, the electronics, the motor and drivetrain, cell and battery, and manufacturing technology. Then you've got their manufacturing supply chain, and they talk about that and all the different pieces to it. Last but not least is their go-to-market strategy, which is, of course, how do they get to the consumer? Is it a direct-to-consumer model? Is it through distribution channels? Is it online? All that stuff. And once again, they own all of that. So, and then here we've got a graphic about talking about the timelines of the delivery of when they started building their construction for their future factory, and then all the way to where we are today, and they're delivering their S1 X Plus here at the end of December 2023. And then this is, of course, their product line. They've got a Gen 2 platform, and on that Gen 2 platform, they've got these 5 scooters that they've got right now. And once again, they talk about their software, the elements of their two-wheel platform. They've got the software, the electronics, the motor and drivetrain, cell and battery, and manufacturing technology. Again, same thing again and again and again. So out of that 440 pages, I think literally 10%, the stuff was repeated again and again. So here we go again. They've got really 2 product lines. One is the scooter that we all know about, and something that's coming very soon is these motorcycles. They've got the Diamond Head, Roadster, Adventure, and Cruiser. So these are the 2 product lines. So that's kind of the document, in a nutshell. There are only 2 surprising things for me. One was around their board of directors. So, of course, Babish is on the board of directors. That's really no big surprise. Then what was really surprising is you had 2 mobile telecom execs. One was Arun Sarin, who used to run Vodafone. I believe he was Vodafone UK, not Vodafone India. But I think he did come in for a while to run Vodafone India, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. Then the second one is Manoj Kohli. He ran Airtel. He was really the brains behind, running the organization. Of course, the Mittals own, Airtel, but I think he was the outside CEO that was brought in to really kind of jumpstart it and did a really good job. But the one very unique, choice for a board of director is Shraddha Sharma. She runs a website called Your Story, which is an amazing platform for founders, talking about startups, talking about funding, all of that. And she's on the board of directors, which is kind of a unique pick. I don't think I've ever seen a journalist be on the board of directors of any public company. I could be wrong, but this was the first time for me seeing it. I guess it definitely kind of helps with, getting a female on your board of directors, so that's great. So at least you kind of get that going. But no shade against her. I think she's a great person. I've met her several times at her events. But I just think this is a really unique pick, and I think it was a great pick for getting someone like that on the board of directors. And the last piece that was kind of surprising from that entire document is, for the last 1 year, I've been hearing about Ola Electric. They're going to come out with a 4-wheel. They're going to come out with an electric car. It's coming soon, coming soon, coming soon. In that entire document of 440 pages, I didn't see one damn thing about a 4-wheel vehicle, which was very surprising. And I just had to pick up one of the articles. And this is, in fact, I think one of the images that they shared online, if I'm not mistaken, on someone's Twitter account. But what was surprising is actually the group CFO, GR Arun Kumar, mentioned that the 4-wheel vehicle will be delivered in the first half of 2024. And it's notable that a CFO would say that, because a CFO would know all of the stuff around forward-looking statements about compliance, whether it's from SEBI, whether it's from the SEC, all of that. And so kind of surprising he said that, yet there was not one single mention of a 4-wheel vehicle. I don't know why that is. I kind of find it hard to believe that it's vaporware, but who knows? Let's see. So that was it. That is a wrap on the electric IPO, the Ola Electric IPO. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. But thanks so much. And that is a wrap on Electric Avenue episode number 13. As always, take care and see you next time.
Oh no, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue.